is something changing? Is there a shift in the narrative when it comes to the last 3 years and you can't say anything about the virus, you can't say anything about the vaccines, you can't say anything about this. Is that changing in your country, Alexandra?
Well, funny you should say that. A couple of nights ago, I was at the huge Dr. McCulloch forum they had there, and there were 2,500 people packed into the convention center, and it was an air of jubilation and excitement because people finally felt as if they were able to come to a public place and to talk about what really happened. And I've been doing a documentary with all the medical doctors trying to speak out for medical freedom because we've got orders in Queensland where doctors can't speak out against health orders. They're not allowed to, even if it's in the public health's best interest. And so there's a movement forming in Australia, which is gaining momentum, where we feel as if maybe, like just maybe, we might be able to turn this around and get some genuine legal action going, because we haven't had the wins that the UK has.
No.
We've had to crawl our way down there, but we are getting somewhere, and that is a positive. We've had some commissions, we've had some bills passed, we're getting there.
No, that what you say, where doctors are actually prevented from giving advice, that's happened in California, that's happened in Canada. A very weird thing, because a patient can't give informed consent to anything if the doctor is not able to give honest advice to the patient. How this has been such a weird time, Dominique. How do you think we wound up in a world where somehow a respiratory virus is an excuse for shrinking free speech, which is what's happened these last 3 years?
Well, it's been progressive, hasn't it? Because it didn't just start with medical fascism. You know, it started with what we saw as, you know, rather not really a big deal, political correctness. A lot of people were complaining about political correctness because they rightly felt that this was just another mechanism to actually restrict people of their free speech. But what it's actually done is it's entrenched a sense of fear, this sort of false belief that there are some things that you simply cannot say because certain groups of people are infallible. And in the case of the pandemic, we were told that the quote unquote experts were infallible, not capable of making mistakes or actually promoting medical misinformation. And because these people are infallible, they cannot be questioned. And if you do question them, you're a conspiracy theorist, a granny killer, you're far right, all of the smears that have been weaponized against people to stop them from actually speaking out. But when you actually delve a bit deeper, you find that these experts actually don't know much, because most of what they have been saying works. For example, lockdowns, the mass wearing of flimsy surgical masks, and then the mass vaccination of millions of healthy people using mRNA vaccines. We found out that those things actually don't work. But that's how we've got here, and it's going to get a lot worse. And I think the main concern now is that they've moved away from medical fascism, not completely, but the conversation sort of faltered. Now it's fascism in the form of the climate crisis, further entrenching that fear into people that if they do question any of these things, they're a denier, they're a fascist, they're a far-right racist. It's going to get a lot worse, I think, unfortunately, before it gets better.